Hello everyone. In the second part of the series on phonetics and spoken English, we are now going to have a look at the consonant and the vowel sounds of English language. As you all know, there are 26 letters of alphabet in English language, but there are 44 sounds of pronunciation in English language. And in any language, the sounds are divided into two categories, consonants and vowels. Now, in phonetics, these terms consonants and vowels refer to types of sounds and not to the letters that they represent. So what we are going to consider here are the sounds, how they are uttered and not how they are written. You must have seen that there are different letters of the alphabet and they may have the same sound. For example, K and C sometimes both have the K sound. For example, if you have a word like kite, K-I-T-E, then the sound is K, and C-A-T is also K. If you have C-H, these two letters can also be pronounced in different ways. For example, chicken. Here the letters C-H have Ch sound, and if the word is chemistry, the letters CH have K sound in it, and if the word is chic, CHIC, then it has sh sound in it. So it is necessary for us to know about these different sounds. Now let us see what are consonants. Consonants are produced with some restriction or closure in the vocal tract that impedes the flow of air from the lungs. So in the production of the consonant sounds, there is some closure of the air passage, and then sometimes the air is released suddenly or sometimes it is released slowly. We classify consonants according to where in the vocal tract the airflow restriction occurs, and it is known as the place of articulation. So that is how consonants are placed, and vowels are produced with little restriction of the airflow from the lungs and out of the mouth or through the nose. So there is very little restriction of the airflow in the production of the vowel sounds. Vowel sounds are classified according to the high or low position of the tongue, forwards or backward position of the tongue, and whether the lips are rounded or spread. That will decide the place of articulation of vowel sounds. Now let us look at some of the consonant sounds and the place of articulation. Let us look at the bilabial sounds. Bilabial sounds are articulated by the two lips. Bi means two and labia means lips. So where the two lips are used, that sound is known as bilabial sound. For example, pa, ba, ma, wa. Now as you can see here that two lips touch each other in the production of these sounds. Now the next sound is known as labiodental. Labiodental is articulated by the lower lip against the upper teeth. In sounds like f, v, you can see that the upper teeth touches the lower lip. Then the next sound is dental. Dental sound is articulated by the tip of the tongue against the upper teeth. And these sounds are th and the. Look very closely and speak along with me. Th, the. Difficult? With little more practice, you will be able to speak these sounds very correctly. Then the next category of sounds is alveolar. Alveolar sounds are articulated by the blade of the tongue against the upper teeth. The blade of the tongue, which means this part of the tongue touches the upper teeth. Sounds like t, d, s, z, n, l. Try to speak these sounds again and you will be able to feel where your tongue touches which part of. Let us now look at the post-alveolar sounds. Post-alveolar sounds are articulated by the tip of the tongue against the back of the teeth ridge. So the tip of the tongue, this part will touch the back of the teeth ridge. R. Now the next one is palato-alveolar sound. Palato-alveolar sounds are articulated by the blade of the tongue against the teeth ridge with the front of the tongue raised towards the hard palate. That is why it is known as palato-alveolar sound. Listen to the sounds of palato-alveolar. Ch, j, sh and j. Pay attention to the last sound, j. This sound is not there in Indian languages and therefore it is very difficult for some Indian speakers to pronounce this or produce this sound, j. It is not sh, it is not z, but somewhere in between these two sounds. So it is j, j. In words like pleasure, measure, this is the sound that is to be used. Now let's move over to the next, that is palatal sound. Palatal sound is articulated by the front of the tongue against the hard palate. Y. The sound is y. Y is a palatal sound. Then the next is velar. Velar is articulated by the back of the tongue against the soft palate. K, g, Then the next sound is glottal. Glottal is produced by an obstruction or narrowing between the vocal cords. Ha, ha. Can you see how the air escapes through the mouth? So that is glottal sound. After considering the place of articulation, we are now going to see the manner of articulation. By a manner of articulation, we mean how the air is held and how it is released So it is about the air stream that is coming out of the lungs. So the first sound is plosive. Plosive sound are uttered with a complete closure of the air passage. Then pressure is built up because the air passage is closed, there is more pressure, and then the air is released suddenly. That is known as plosive sound. Try to speak these sounds. P, B, T, D, K, G. Can you see how the air is held and then it is released suddenly? That is plosive sounds. Then affricate sound. In affricate sound, there is complete closure of the air passage, and then the organs are separated slowly so that friction is heard. For example, ch and j. So these are the sounds which are known as affricate sounds. Then nasal sounds. In nasal sound, there is complete closure of the air passage, which means that the air is not allowed to escape for some seconds, for some time. And then the soft palate is lowered and the air escapes through the nose. So when the soft palate is lowered, naturally the air will escape through the nose because the oral cavity is closed. It's like a curtain. The curtain is closed here. So where will the air pass through? It will pass through the nose. That is known as nasal sound. M, n, n. Can you see the air passing through the nose? Try to speak it and you will realize this. Then the next sound is known as roll. In roll, there are a number of rapid taps made by the tongue against the roof of the mouth or some firmer surface in the mouth. As in the sound r, r. That is called roll. Then flap. In flap, there is only one tap of the tip of the tongue against the teeth ridge. Just one tap against the teeth ridge. Ra. Ra. As in the word very. Ra. That is flap. Then lateral sound. In lateral sound, at some point, there is a closure in the middle, but the air escapes through the sides. La. La. The next sound is fricative. In fricative, there is a narrow passage for the air between two organs and friction is produced when the air passes through this opening. So consider these sounds: fa, va, th, the, sa, z, sh, zh, and h. Then the next is frictionless continuant. Here there is no closure or friction, but the sound has a consonantal function, as in ra. R. In words like rain, that is frictionless continuant. Then semi-vowel. Semi-vowel is a vowel glide with a consonantal function, which means that there is a vowel but it ends up with a consonant in the sounds like year. So you begin with E and then end up with ya. Ear. So you start with slightly U and then there is V sound that is heard. Wa. So that is known as a semi-vowel. So with this, we come to the end of the description of speech sounds, the place of articulation, and the manner of articulation of speech sounds. And with the help of this video, if you go on practicing at home, I am sure you will be able to speak these sounds in the correct manner.